The storm hit like a freight train, ripping through the quiet streets of Evanston, Illinois, just north of Chicago, turning the summer night into a howling mess of wind and rain that battered the old Victorian house on Elmwood Avenue. I slammed the back door behind me, heart pounding from the sprint across the yard, my soaked t-shirt clinging to my skin like a second layer of regret, because I just kissed Scott's brother, Justin, under the downpour, his hands fisting my shirt as if letting go meant the world would end. And in that split second, with thunder cracking overhead, I knew one kiss had shattered everything. Our friendship, his secrets, and the fragile lie we'd all been living. Rain lashed the windshield of my beat-up Honda Civic as I pulled into the driveway of the old house on Elmwood, the kind of place that screamed Midwestern family drama, with its peeling white paint and wraparound porch sagging under the weight of too many winters. It was late August, the air thick with that pre-storm humidity that makes everything feel like it's about to snap, and I'd driven up from my cramped apartment in Wrigleyville because Scott had texted me in a panic. "Dude, parents are out of town. Epic night planned. Crash here." Scott and I had been inseparable since freshman year at Northwestern, brothers in all but blood, bonding over bad dive bar whiskey and dreams of escaping the Midwest for something bigger. He was the straight-laced one, pre-med with a jawline that could cut glass and a laugh that filled rooms. I was Alex, the artsy queer kid from the South Side, sketching graffiti murals in my sketchbook and pretending my heart wasn't a goddamn minefield. I killed the engine and grabbed my duffel, the first fat drops of rain splattering the hood like warning shots. The front door swung open before I could knock, and there was Scott, all 6'2" of him, grinning like an idiot in a faded Cubs jersey, a beer already in hand. "Alex, get your ass in here before you drown." Man, he pulled me into a bear hug, the kind that smelled like Axe body spray and fresh laundry, and for a second, everything felt right again, normal, uncomplicated. No lingering glances at guys in coffee shops, no late-night scrolls through Grindr wondering if I'd ever find someone who saw past the tattoos snaking up my arms. The living room was a time capsule of suburban Americana. Faded family photos on the mantel, a massive sectional couch piled with throw pillows, and a flat screen blasting some ESPN highlight reel. Scott thrust a cold bottle into my hand, Goose Island IPA, my favorite, and we collapsed onto the couch, cracking open the night like it was just another Friday. "Parents are in Florida for 2 weeks," he said, clinking bottles. "Mom's obsessed with those retirement communities. Dad's golfing his way to oblivion. House is ours." His eyes lit up with that boyish mischief, the one that had gotten us kicked out of the library once for smuggling in a flask during finals week. We ordered pizza, deep dish from Lou Malnati's, because Chicago, and demolished it while trading stories about the semester ahead. Scott was stressing over MCAT prep, his future mapped out like a blueprint: med school at Rush, residency in the city, maybe a practice in the suburbs someday. "Gotta make something of myself, you know? Can't end up like..." He trailed off, waving vaguely toward the ceiling, where the upstairs bedrooms creaked faintly. I knew who he meant. Justin, Scott's older brother, the black sheep who'd dropped out of community college after one semester, drifting through odd jobs and that perpetual haze of rebellion. He was 25 to Scott's 21, built like a linebacker from too many pickup football games, with dark hair that fell into his eyes and a smirk that could disarm a room or break it. Upstairs, the floorboards groaned again, heavier this time, like someone pacing. Scott rolled his eyes. "That's him. Came home last week after bouncing at some bar in Wicker Park." Says he's figuring shit out. Whatever. There was no venom in it. Just the weary resignation of a little brother who'd long ago stopped trying to fix the unfixable. I nodded, taking a swig of beer to mask the flicker of curiosity, and something sharper, unbidden. I'd met Justin a handful of times over the years. Holidays, barbecues, that awkward Thanksgiving when he'd shown up buzzed and crashed on the couch. He was always the wild card, the one who made Scott tense up and our mom. Hell, everyone whisper about potential. But there was something magnetic about him, a raw energy that pulled at the edges of my carefully curated chaos. The storm clouds rolled in for real around 10, the sky bruising purple through the bay window. We fired up the Xbox, sinking into a marathon of Madden, trash-talking each other like old times. Scott was up by 2 touchdowns when the doorbell rang, a shrill buzz that cut through the thunder rumbling in the distance. "Pizza's here already?" "Nah." I said 9:30. He paused the game and lumbered to the door, flinging it open to reveal not the delivery guy, but a cluster of faces from our NU circle. Mia with her neon hair and perpetual vape cloud, Tyler nursing a 6-pack, and a couple others I'd seen around the quad. "Surprise. Assholes," Scott hooped, pulling them inside as rain pelted the welcome mat. The house transformed in minutes. Music thumping from Scott's Bluetooth speaker, red Solo cups materializing like magic, bodies spilling into the kitchen for shots of cheap tequila. I hung back at first, sketching idly on a napkin while Mia dragged Scott into a sloppy dance-off in the living room. The energy was electric, the kind that makes you forget the world outside. Jobs that didn't exist yet, loans piling up, the quiet ache of loving in a city that chewed you up and spat you out. Tyler clapped me on the shoulder, sloshing beer on my jeans. "Alex, man, you look like you need this." He handed me a joint, and I took a hit, the smoke curling lazy in my lungs as laughter echoed off the walls. That's when I saw him, Justin, descending the stairs like he owned the shadows. He wore a black Henley stretched tight over his chest, jeans slung low on his hips, and his hair was damp, like he'd just showered. The room seemed to dim around him, conversations dipping as eyes flicked his way. He moved with that effortless grace, all coiled tension and quiet command, grabbing a beer from the cooler without a word. Our gazes locked across the kitchen island, and for a heartbeat, the party faded, the bass line, the chatter, the storm brewing outside. His eyes were hazel, flecked with gold, holding mine with an intensity that felt like a challenge. Or an invitation. "Hey," he said, voice low and rough, like gravel under tires. He leaned against the counter, close enough that I caught the scent of his soap, cedar and something sharper, like rain on asphalt. "Alex, right?" Scott's shadow. I forced a laugh, heat creeping up my neck. More like his conscience. "You're Justin," he smirked, tipping his bottle back. The one and only fuck-up. There was no self-pity in it, just blunt honesty, the kind that disarmed you before you could build walls. We talked then, easy at first, about the city, the Bears' hopeless season, the tattoo on my forearm that he'd noticed, a compass rose, inked after my first breakup. The joint made everything softer around the edges, words flowing like the beer. He asked about my art, really listened when I rambled about street murals in Pilsen, his gaze never wavering. Scott wandered over at some point, slinging an arm around Justin's shoulders. "Don't corrupt my boy here, bro. He's got a portfolio to build." Justin shrugged him off gently, but his eyes stayed on me. Too late for that. The night blurred after that, dancing in the living room until the floor stuck with spilled drinks. Mia challenging everyone to beer pong on the dining table. Thunder shaking the foundations as the storm finally broke. I lost track of Justin in the chaos, but he lingered in my periphery, laughing with Tyler by the speakers, his hand brushing my arm when he passed a fresh drink. It was innocent, or so I told myself, that pull in my chest. Scott was my anchor. This was just the booze talking, the high of a night unspooling without consequences. By midnight, the party had thinned, Mia crashing on the couch, Tyler and the others piling into Ubers with sloppy goodbyes. Scott clapped me on the back, eyes glassy but content. Best night in forever, man. Upstairs bathroom's yours. Justin Hoggs the master. He vanished up the stairs, leaving me to lock up, the rain a relentless drum against the windows. I was wiping down the counter, stacking cups in the sink, when Justin appeared in the doorway, silhouetted against the dim hall light. Need a hand? His voice cut through the quiet, and I turned, startled. Nah, I got it. Go crash. He didn't move, just watched me for a beat too long. You don't have to play maid. Scott's the one who trashes places. It's fine. I rinsed a cup, water splashing hot over my knuckles. The air between us thickened, charged like the storm outside. Your folks' house is nice. Feels. Lived in. He snorted, stepping closer, hip cocked against the fridge. Lived in? That's code for stuck in the 90s. Mom's got a thing for doilies. He reached past me for a dish towel, his arm brushing mine, and electricity zipped up my spine. I froze, dishwater dripping from my fingers. Sorry, he murmured, but he didn't pull away. His breath was warm on my neck, beer and mint. You okay? Yeah. The word came out hoarse. I set the cup down, turning slowly, and there he was, inches away, eyes dark with something unspoken. The kitchen light cast shadows under his jaw, highlighting the faint scar from a bar fight he'd mentioned earlier. My pulse thundered, louder than the rain. Just tired. He nodded, but his gaze dropped to my mouth, lingering. Me too. Then, softer. Stay up? Talk more? Scott's out cold. I should have said no. Should have grabbed my bag and headed for the guest room, chalked it up to the night. But the storm held, and his eyes held storms of their own, lonely, hungry. Sure, I whispered. Why not? We ended up on the back porch, under the overhang, the yard a blur of wind-whipped trees and pooling water. He lit a cigarette, Marlboros, the red pack, and offered me a drag, which I took, coughing lightly as smoke mingled with the petrichor. We talked for hours, or what felt like it, about his dead-end jobs, the pressure of being the responsible brother when Scott was the golden child, about my coming out in high school, the fallout with my dad who still sent birthday cards with Bible verses tucked inside. He listened, really listened, his knee brushing mine on the glider swing. You're brave, he said at one point, exhaling smoke toward the dark. Putting it all out there. Wish I had that. The words hung heavy. I glanced at him, rain dripping from the eaves like tears. What do you mean? He stubbed out the cigarette, grinding it under his boot. Nothing. Forget it. But his hand found mine in the shadows, fingers lacing tentatively, and the world tilted. His palm was calloused, warm against the chill, and when he leaned in, hesitant, I met him halfway. The kiss was fire, slow at first, testing, then desperate as the dam broke. His lips tasted like smoke and salt, his free hand cupping my jaw, thumb tracing the line of my stubble. I melted into it, heart slamming, the storm mirroring the chaos inside me. This was wrong. Scott upstairs, oblivious but God, felt like coming home. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together. Fuck, he breathed, voice wrecked. I shouldn't. Don't. I cut him off, pulling him back. Another kiss, deeper, his body pinning me against the railing. Hands roamed, mine under his shirt, feeling the hard planes of his abs, his tangling in my hair, tugging just enough to spark. The door banged open behind us. Alex, you out here? Scott's voice, slurred with sleep. We sprang apart like guilty teens, Justin wiping his mouth, me smoothing my shirt. Scott stumbled onto the porch, blinking through the rain. Storm's nuts. Come inside, man. Guest room's ready. Yeah, I managed, voice steady by miracle. Coming. Justin met my eyes one last time. Promise, regret, hunger all tangled, and vanished into the house. I followed Scott up, the stairs creaking underfoot, my lips still tingling. The night had flipped, all right, and there was no unturning it. Sunlight sliced through the blinds like accusations, pulling me from a sleep tangled in sheets that smelled faintly of lavender detergent and regret. My head throbbed, a tequila and thunder hangover, and for a disorienting second, I forgot where I was. The guest room, walls papered in faded florals, a twin bed that creaked under my weight. Then it crashed back. The porch, Justin's mouth on mine, the electric pull that had kept me awake half the night, replaying every touch until dawn crept in. I groaned, scrubbing a hand over my face, the events of last night slotting into place like puzzle pieces I wasn't ready to see. Scott, my best friend, the guy who'd held my hand through my first Pride parade, who'd crashed on my couch after his own string of disastrous dates with girls who never stuck. Kissing his brother? That was a grenade with the pin half pulled. And Justin. What the hell was that? The way he'd kissed back. Fierce and unguarded, like he'd been starving for it. Or was it just the storm, the booze, the isolation of an empty house? Downstairs, the smell of coffee and bacon wafted up, mingled with the sizzle of a skillet. I threw on jeans and a hoodie, splashed water on my face in the bathroom, avoiding the mirror, because looking at myself felt like admitting something, and headed down. The kitchen was bright, morning light flooding the breakfast nook. Scott at the stove in boxers and an apron that said, "Kiss the cook" in chipped letters. He looked wrecked but happy, flipping eggs with a spatula. Morning. Sunshine. You snore like a freight train. You know that. I forced a grin, sliding onto a stool at the island. Pot. Kettle. Coffee. He poured me a mug, black. 2 sugars, just how I liked, and slid it over. Slept like shit. Party was killer, though. Mia texted me a vid of Tyler faceplanting into the bushes. Gold. His laugh was easy, oblivious, and guilt twisted in my gut like a knife. Where was Justin? Hiding upstairs? Or had last night been a fever dream I'd conjured from too many lonely nights? As if summoned, footsteps thudded down the stairs, and Justin appeared in the doorway, hair tousled, wearing gray sweats that hung low on his hips, a white tank top clinging to his sleep-warm skin. He didn't look at me, Not directly. His eyes flicked to Scott first, then the coffee pot, jaw tight. "Morning," he muttered, voice gravelly from sleep or something heavier. Scott barely glanced up. "Hey, zombie. Bacon's almost done. You working today?" Justin poured coffee, black and steaming, leaning against the counter with that casual sprawl that made my throat dry. "Nah." Called out. "Boss is a dick." His gaze slid to me then, brief but loaded, a spark in the hazel, gone as quick as it came. Heat flooded my cheeks. I busied myself stirring sugar, the spoon clinking too loud. "Cool. Alex and I were thinking Lake Day. Michigan's like 20 minutes. Kayaks, beers, the works." Scott plated eggs, oblivious to the tension coiling in the air like smoke. "You in, Jay? Or you gonna brood in your cave all day?" Justin shrugged, grabbing a strip of bacon and crunching it between his teeth. "Maybe. Got shit to do." His eyes met mine again over the rim of his mug, holding just long enough to make my pulse stutter. Shit to do. Like what? Pretend last night didn't happen? Or plan how to do it again? We ate in that strained domesticity. Scott dominating the conversation with stories from the party. Me nodding along. Justin interjecting with dry sarcasm that had his brother chuckling. It was surreal. The three of us orbiting like planets on a collision course. The undercurrent of what-ifs humming beneath every word. After breakfast, Scott dragged me to the garage for kayaks, leaving Justin to clean up, but as we hauled the boats out, I caught a glimpse of him through the window, watching us, expression unreadable, a shadow crossing his face. The drive to Lake Michigan was a blur of Scott's playlist. Springsteen blasting Born to Run, windows down, wind whipping our hair. Evanston's tree-lined streets gave way to the sprawl of highway, the lake's vast blue expanse shimmering on the horizon like a promise. We launched the kayaks from a public beach, the water choppy from last night's storm, gulls wheeling overhead. Scott paddled like a machine, racing ahead and yelling taunts over his shoulder. "Eat my wake, Rivera," I laughed, digging my paddle in, the rhythm steadying the chaos in my head. Out here, under the endless sky, it was easy to pretend. No kisses in the rain, no hazel eyes haunting my sleep. But as we beached the kayaks on a secluded stretch of sand, dunes rolling like frozen waves, Scott cracked open a cooler of IPAs and flopped down, sighing contentedly. "This is it, man. Life." "Yeah," I echoed, toes digging into the cool sand. The sun beat down, warming my skin, but inside, I was adrift. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from an unknown number. Porch was a mistake. Or the best one. "Meet me at the boathouse later, Jay." My breath caught. How had he gotten my number? Scott, probably, in one of those absent brotherly shares. I deleted it quick, heart hammering, but the words burned into my brain. Back at the house by late afternoon, Scott crashed for a nap, MSAT dreams await, leaving me to shower off the lake grit. The guest bath was tiny, steam fogging the mirror as hot water cascaded over me, washing away salt but not the ache low in my belly. I toweled off, pulling on clean shorts, when a knock rattled the door soft, insistent. "Alex," Justin's voice, muffled. "You decent." I cracked the door, steam billowing out. He stood there in the hall, freshly showered too, hair damp and curling at the ends, wearing a faded Blackhawks tee that hugged his shoulders. Close, without the party's buffer, He looked younger, vulnerable, almost with faint shadows under his eyes. Hey, hey! He glanced past me, then stepped inside, closing the door with a quiet click. The space shrank, air thick with unspoken. About last night. Don't. I held up a hand, back hitting the sink. Scott's downstairs. Literally. He raked fingers through his hair, frustration etching lines around his mouth. I know. Fuck. I know. He paced the 2 steps the bathroom allowed. Caged energy. But I can't just ignore it. That kiss. It wrecked me. The words landed like punches, stealing my air. Wrecked how? He stopped, inches away, heat radiating off him. Like I've been pretending my whole life. With girls. With the guys at the bar. With Scott acting like I'm the screw-up for not fitting his perfect box. His voice cracked on the last word. Bro. I'm gay. Alex. Or bi. Whatever the fuck. Haven't said it out loud till now. Not even to myself. The confession hung there, heavy as the humid air. I reached for him, tentative, my hand on his arm, muscle tense under my palm. Justin. He surged forward, kissing me like a man drowning, hands framing my face, desperate and deep. Kissed back, falling into it, the world narrowing to his taste. His touch, fingers tracing my spine, pulling me flush against him. We stumbled, my back to the wall, his thigh slotting between mine, friction sparking heat that made me gasp into his mouth. A door slammed downstairs, Scott, stirring. We broke apart, breathing ragged, foreheads touching. Boathouse, he whispered. Urgent. 8. Please. I nodded, dazed, as he slipped out. Dinner was torture, Scott's lasagna. Easy banter. Justin across the table stealing glances that set my skin alight. After, Scott suggested a movie, John Wick Marathon, but I begged off with a headache, claiming lake fatigue. He bought it, settling in with popcorn, while I texted Justin, on my way. The boathouse was a forgotten relic at the edge of the property, tucked behind overgrown lilacs, its weathered wood groaning in the evening breeze off the lake. Dusk painted the sky in bruised purples, fireflies winking like conspirators. I slipped out the back door, pulse racing, the grass damp under my sneakers. He was waiting inside, a lantern casting golden light on stacked life jackets and dusty oars. No words, just his arms pulling me close, mouth claiming mine in the dim. We sank to a pile of tarps, clothes shedding like inhibitions, his body over mine strong, urgent, reverent. Hands explored, breaths mingled, the world reduced to skin and size. He was gentle at first, tracing tattoos with lips, whispering my name like prayer, then fierce, hips grinding, taking me apart with touches that blurred pain and pleasure. After, we lay tangled, sweat cooling in the night air, his head on my chest. This can't be just tonight, he murmured, fingers tracing lazy circles on my hip. It's not. I kissed his temple, certainty blooming despite the fear. We'll figure it. But as we dressed, a twig snapped outside sharp, too close. We froze, heart stalling. Through the slats, a silhouette, Scott, phone flashlight bobbing, calling softly, Alex, you out here sketching or some shit? Panic clawed my throat. Justin's eyes widened, betrayal's first shadow. Go, he hissed. I'll cover. I slipped out the side, circling wide through the yard, re-entering the house like a ghost. Scott met me in the kitchen, brow furrowed. Thought I heard voices. You good? Yeah. I lied, tasting copper guilt's bite. Just clearing my head. He nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes. Upstairs, alone, I stared at the ceiling, the night's echoes fading into dread. One night had unraveled us. How many more till it all came undone? The next morning dawned too bright, too normal, a mocking facsimile of routine as Scott banged around the kitchen, blending protein shakes and humming off-key to some podcast about keto diets. I dragged myself downstairs, the ache in my muscles a secret map of the boathouse, every twinge a reminder of Justin's hands, his whispered promises in the dark. Sleep had been fitful, dreams tangled with rain and regret, waking to the ghost of his breath on my neck. Morning. Killer. Scott slid a green monstrosity my way, kale, banana, the works. You vanished last night. Movie any good? I sipped the sludge, forcing a nod. Yeah. Fell asleep halfway, lie stacked on lie, each one heavier, settling like sediment in my chest. Where was Justin? The house felt echoey without him. Stairs silent. His door cracked open on emptiness when I'd risked a glance earlier. Scott chattered on plans for the day, a pickup game at the park, maybe hitting Manny's for deli later. I half listened, gaze drifting to the back window, the boathouse a squat shadow amid the dew-kissed grass. Had Scott seen? The flashlight, the voices, had suspicion already taken root? My phone buzzed on the counter. Justin. Working late. Meet at the dive on Clark? 10 p.m. Miss you already. A smile tugged despite the knot in my gut. I typed back quick, hell yes, and pocketed it before Scott could snoop. The day unfolded in lazy fragments. Basketball under a relentless sun. My shots wild as my thoughts. Scott ribbing me good-naturedly. What's with you? Rivera? Got a girl on your mind or what? His elbow jabbed my ribs. Playful. But the words landed wrong. Twisting the knife. Nah. I deflected, sinking a three-pointer by sheer luck. Just hung over from life. He laughed, but his eyes sharpened, that big brother intuition flaring. Spill. You've been weird since the party. I waved it off, chest tight. It's nothing. Senior slump. We let it drop, retreating to the shade for Gatorade and shade throwing about old flames. His ex, Lena, who'd ghosted him after Coachella. My string of apps dates that fizzled faster than cheap fireworks. It was cathartic, almost this ritual of ours, but laced now with the poison of omission. By evening, sweat-soaked and spent, we grilled burgers on the patio, the lake a silver ribbon in the distance, fireflies emerging like hesitant stars. Justin texted again as we ate, running behind. Order me a whiskey sour. And I did, slipping away to the corner bar on Clark Street, a neon-lit hole called the Rusty Anchor, where the jukebox spun Springsteen and the bartender knew everyone by name. I claimed a booth in the back, nursing my beer, the wood-paneled walls closing in with their patina of smoke and stories. 10 became 10:30. Anxiety gnawing. Had he bailed? Ditched the complication that was me? The door swung open, bell tinkling, and there he was, wind-ruffled hair, work boots scuffed with bar grime, a sheepish grin splitting his face as he spotted me. Sorry, boss had a meltdown. Some frat boy puked in the cooler. He slid in opposite, close enough our knees knocked under the table, and downed half the whiskey in one go. Rough night, I teased, but my voice came out soft, relieved. His foot hooked mine, ankle to ankle, a hidden anchor. Better now. We talked over the din, his shift stories, absurd and gritty, my sketches from the park, passed under the table on my phone. Laughter came easy, the bar's haze softening edges, and when his hand covered mine across the scarred wood, thumb stroking my knuckles, felt like defiance, like claiming space in a world that wanted us silent. "Scott ask about me?" he ventured, casual but not. I hesitated, the lie bitter. "Nah. Thinks I'm moping over midterms." Justin's jaw ticked, hazel eyes storming. "He's gonna find out eventually." This, he gestured between us, intimate in the low light. "It's not nothing. It's everything," I admitted, heart in my throat. "But Scott, he's family." He nodded, slow, pain flickering. "I know. Fucked it up once already, coming out to him about dropping school. Won't lose him over this. The word hung, fragile. We left at midnight, the street alive with CTA rumble and distant sirens, his arm brushing mine as we walked to my car. At the Honda, he pinned me against the door. Quick, fierce kiss that tasted like whiskey and want, his body shielding us from passers-by. "Tomorrow?" he murmured against my lips. Tomorrow, but tomorrow fractured at dawn. I woke to Scott's voice booming from downstairs. Angry, edged with hurt. "What the fuck? Jay, you steal my truck again." I bolted up, pulling on clothes, padding to the landing. In the driveway, Scott faced Justin, who leaned against the tailgate of a battered Ford F-150, keys dangling from his fingers. Rain from 2 nights ago had left puddles, mirroring the tension. "Needed it for work," Justin said, calm but defensive. "You were passed out." "Borrowed, not stole." Scott's face twisted, betrayal's raw map. "That's your excuse every time. Show up, take what you want, bail when it suits. I'm tired of cleaning up your messes, man." The words landed like slaps, and Justin flinched, keys clinking as he tossed them over. "Fine. Take it. Wouldn't want to inconvenience golden boy." I hovered at the top of the stairs, invisible, chest aching. Brothers tearing at each other, threads fraying, and me the secret accelerant, hidden in plain sight. Scott stormed inside, spotting me. "Hey. Family bullshit. Ignore." But his eyes were red-rimmed, voice brittle. "Justin's always pulling this crap. Thinks the world's out to get him." I nodded, mute, following him to the kitchen where he cracked eggs with vicious force. "You okay?" I asked, tentative. He paused, shoulders slumping. "Yeah. Just wish he'd get his shit together. For Mom's sake. You know?" Vulnerability cracked his armor, and guilt surged, hot, nauseating. I was part of this unraveling, even if he didn't know. The day dragged, Scott burying himself in study guides, me sketching furiously in the living room, lines bleeding into abstract storms. Justin texted midday, sorry about the blow-up. Scott's dramatic. "Dinner tonight? My treat." I agreed, craving the balm of his presence. But unease festered. Evening brought escalation. I slipped out for our date, A quiet Italian spot in Andersonville, candlelit tables and Chianti, but arrived to find Justin at the bar, arguing with the hostess, phone glued to his ear. No, Ma, it's fine. Scott's just being Scott. He hung up as I approached, face drawn. Parents called. Scott ratted me out about the truck. Now they're on my ass about responsibility. We ate in fits. Pasta twirled half-heartedly. Conversation veering to safer ground. Movies. Music. The Bears' slim playoff hopes. But under the table, his foot sought mine, grounding. I meant what I said, he whispered over tiramisu. This is worth fighting for. Back at the house, the fracture deepened. Scott was waiting in the living room, arms crossed, TV flickering silently. Where were you? Not accusatory, worried. Dinner with a friend. I hedged, bag slipping from my shoulder. He eyed me, sharp. Same friend from the boathouse? Ice water in my veins. What? Saw you sneak back. Heard voices. Thought it was Mia or someone. Pause. Probing. But you looked guilty. I laughed it off. Too loud. Too brittle. Paranoid much? It was just a call. His gaze lingered, doubt solidifying. Okay. Just be straight with me, Alex. We're brothers. The pun unintended, but it stung. Always. Upstairs. I texted Justin, close call. Scott suspects something. His reply, we'll talk. Come over? I did, tapping on his door, soft, so Scott wouldn't hear. He pulled me inside. Room a mess of laundry and half-read paperbacks. The air thick with his scent. We didn't talk, not at first. Just collapsed onto his bed, kissing slow and deep, hands mapping familiar territory. It was solace, this tangle of limbs, his murmurs against my skin chasing shadows. But talk came, inevitable. Curled against him, sheets twisted, I confessed Scott's questions. Justin sighed, fingers combing my hair. He's protecting you. Thinks I'm trouble. And he's not wrong. Bitterness edged his voice. Grew up in his shadow, the smart one, the athlete. I was the queer kid hiding comics under my mattress, stealing glances at the lifeguards. When I came out to Mom and Dad at 18, they nodded, said we love you, but Scott. He acted like it changed nothing. But it did. He babies me now, like I'm broken. You're not, I said fiercely, propping on an elbow to meet his eyes. You're real. That's more than most get. He smiled, said, yeah. But if he finds out about us, it'll break him. Thinks I'm using you to rebel. The fear crystallized then, not just exposure, but the betrayal's ripple. Scott, who'd stood by me when no one else did. Justin, cracking open my guarded heart. Collision inevitable. We fell asleep like that, entwined, but dawn brought the shatter. A crash from downstairs. Glass breaking. Scott's shout, Justin, what the hell? I jolted awake. Justin already bolting, yanking on sweats. Stay here, but I followed, barefoot down the stairs, into chaos. The living room a wreck, lamp shattered, Scott looming over Justin, who clutched a bloody hand, fist through the coffee table, shards glinting. You think you're so fucking perfect? Justin snarled, voice venom. Always the hero. Fixing my messes? Newsflash, I don't need you. Scott's face crumpled. Hurt. Fury. This is about the truck? Or Dad calling you out? Grow up. Jay. Stop sabotaging everything. I hovered in the doorway. Invisible again. Horror rooting me. Justin's eyes met mine over Scott's shoulder. Pleading. Broken, and in that glance, the fracture spread. Blood dripped onto the rug, staining the fibers red as the truth. Scott turned, spotting me. Alex. Help me talk sense into him. But sense was gone, dissolved in the blood and rage. The unraveling had begun, threads pulling taut, ready to snap. The afternoon sun hung low over Evanston, casting long shadows across the living room like accusatory fingers, the air thick with the metallic tang of blood and the acrid bite of unspoken accusations. Paramedics had come and gone, Scott's frantic 911 call turning the quiet street into a spectacle of flashing lights and nosy neighbors peeking from behind curtains, stitching Justin's knuckles with efficient tugs, prescribing rest and anger management. Now the house was a tomb. Scott vanished to the library for study time, his slammed door echoing the finality of a drawbridge rising. Justin holed up in his room, door barred like a fortress, and me, pacing the kitchen, phone clutched like a lifeline, texts to both going unread. Guilt was a living thing now, coiling in my gut, whispering that this was my fault, the stolen moments, the secrets stacking like kindling. I'd lit the match, even if I hadn't swung the fist. A knock at the back door jolted me. Mia, eyes wide behind her blue hair, bearing takeout from the falafel joint down the block. Scott texted. Said shit hit the fan. Spill. I let her in. The story tumbling out in fragments over greasy pitas. The fight. The glass. The brothers' war. I omitted us, Justin and me, the betrayal too fresh, too raw to voice. She listened, nodding sagely, vape cloud curling like a question mark. Family's messy. But Scott's tough, he'll cool off. Justin. That's deeper. Like, therapy deeper. Yeah. I picked at my food. Appetite fled. They're all each other has. Really. Parents are ghosts. Mom buried in her garden club. Dad in his accounting spreadsheets. She squeezed my arm. Sisterly. You're the glue. Alex. Fix it. But glue doesn't hold when the pieces are splintered. Evening crept in, the lake's chill seeping through cracks, and I knocked on Justin's door, soft, then firmer. It's me. The lock clicked, and he pulled me inside, bandaged hand cradling mine as the door shut. His room was chaos incarnate. Posters of alt-rock bands peeling at edges, a guitar gathering dust in the corner, bed unmade from our night before. He looked wrecked, eyes bloodshot, stubble shadowing his jaw, the Henley from yesterday rumpled. Hey, hey, I touched his face, thumb brushing a bruise blooming on his cheek. From the table's edge, maybe. How's the hand? He flexed it gingerly, wincing. Doc said 6 stitches. Souvenir. Bitter laugh. Scott's probably telling everyone I'm the family psycho. He's worried, I said, pulling him to sit on the bed. Not wrong to be, Justin tensed, pulling away. Worried or ashamed? Same difference. He raked his good hand through his hair, pacing the narrow space. Punched the table 'cause he pushed, about the truck, about Mom crying on the phone, about me wasting my life. Then he hits me with, at least Alex has his head on straight. Like you're the son he wishes he had. The word stung, a backhanded compliment laced with venom. Scott's not like that. Aren't you? Justin whirled, eyes flashing. The perfect friend. The one who doesn't drag everyone down. Bet he tells you all my dirt, the dropout, the bar fights, the girls I dated to shut everyone up. I stood, closing the distance. Stop. This isn't about me. Isn't it? His voice cracked, vulnerability bleeding through. Last night, at the bar. Then this morning, hearing you two laughing downstairs like nothing's changed. Felt like I was the intruder in my own house. You're not. I cupped his face, forcing his gaze. We are. This us, it's real. But Scott, he can't lose you. Not like this. He leaned into my touch, eyes closing. Then what? Hide forever? Pretend I don't want to wake up with you every day. Desperation edged his whisper. And he kissed me then. Slow, ticking, pouring regret into every press of lips. We fell into it, bodies remembering, hands seeking solace. But midway, a creak on the stairs, footsteps, deliberate. We broke apart, hearts hammering, as Scott's voice filtered through the door. Alex? You up here? Panic surged. Justin shoved me toward the closet. Cliché as hell, but no time for pride. I dove in, among hanging flannels smelling of his cologne. Door ajar just enough to peer out. Scott entered, face a mask of forced calm. Saw Mia leave. You okay? Justin sat on the bed, casual as he could manage, bandaged hand in his lap. Peachy. Why? Scott's eyes narrowed, scanning the room, my sneakers by the dresser, damning evidence. Looking for Alex. Thought he might be sketching or whatever. Pause. Heavy. You two been talking? Justin shrugged, voice steady. About the fight. He's trying to play peacemaker. Scott nodded, but suspicion etched deeper. Good. 'Cause I need him. He turned to leave, then paused. Jay. I'm sorry about earlier. Didn't mean to push. Yeah. Justin's tone flat. Me neither. Door clicked shut, footsteps receding. I emerged, shaking, Justin's arms wrapping me from behind. Close, I breathed. Too close. He buried his face in my neck, breath shuddering. Can't do this much longer. We didn't that night. Curled together in silence, the weight pressing until sleep claimed us, fitful and fraught. Betrayal struck at noon the next day, a Sunday scalding with false summer promise. Scott dragged us to brunch, insistent, family reset, at a trendy spot in Wilmette, mimosas and avocado toast masking the minefield. The patio overlooked the lake, yachts bobbing like indifferent spectators, conversations stilted, weather, work, avoiding the elephant. Then Scott leaned in, voice low. Heard something from Mia. You and some guy from the party? Bill? Alex. My fork froze midair, Eggs Benedict turning to ash in my mouth. Justin's foot nudged mine under the table, warning. Support. What? I played dumb, pulse roaring. Mia said you were glowing post-party. Anyone I know, teasing, but probing. Just a date. Nothing serious, like flimsy as tissue. Scott grinned, oblivious. Good for you. Deserve it after that douche from last spring. He clapped my shoulder, brotherly, and turned to Justin. You? Still chasing barflies? Justin's laugh was forced. Something like that. The meal dragged, tension coiling tighter, until Scott's phone buzzed. A text, his face paling as he read. Mom, he stood abruptly. Wants us home. Now. The drive back was silent, storm clouds gathering anew, mirroring the one inside the truck. At the house, their mother waited on the porch, elegant in pearls and linen, eyes red from crying. Hugs were stiff, coffee poured with trembling hands. Your father's worried, she said. Gaze on Justin. The fight, the truck. And Scott says you've been distant. Justin bristled. Scott says, what? You two plotting now? Justin. I started, but Scott cut in, voice rising. Plotting? I'm trying to help. You smash shit. Ghost for days. Enough. Their mother stood, voice whip-sharp. This ends now. Family meeting. It devolved in the living room, accusations flying, old wounds ripped open. Justin's failures, Scott's control freak tendencies, me silent in the corner, the interloper. Then, the bomb? Scott, turning to me, eyes pleading. Alex, back me up. Tell him he needs to step up. I opened my mouth. Words tangling loyalty to Scott, love for Justin. Guys, you're brothers. But Justin saw it, the hesitation, the flinch. Hurt flashed, raw, and he stood. Fuck this. I'm out. Door slammed, truck roaring to life, tires squealing on gravel. Scott deflated, head in hands. See? He runs. Always. Their mother sighed, patting his knee. Give him time. To me. Thank you for being here. Alex. Your family too. The words burned. Betrayal's brand. I'd chosen silence. And it cost Justin. Pushed him away when he needed me most. Night fell heavy. Rain pattering like judgment. I texted Justin. Where are you? Please. Hours passed. Silence deafening. Then, a buzz at a buddy's. Need space. Don't follow. Heart splintering. I drove anyway, Wicker Park. Gut instinct leading to a dingy walk-up above a tattoo parlor. The address he'd mentioned once. Buzzing up, I found him on the fire escape, bottle in hand. City lights glittering below like fallen stars. Go home. Alex. Voice slurred. Defeated. No. I climbed out, sitting beside him, thigh to thigh. I'm sorry. For not speaking up. He laughed. Hollow. Knew it was coming. Scott's your rock. I'm the rebound. You're not. I took the bottle, swigging deep bourbon fire. I love you. The words escaped, unplanned, hanging in the humid air. His eyes widened, then softened, hand finding mine. Say it again. I love you. Firmer. Truth. He kissed me there, on the iron grate, rain misting our faces, desperate, reclaiming. But as we broke apart, his phone lit up. Scott. Where are you? Mom's freaking. Come home. Justin groaned, pocketing it. Can't. Not yet. We stayed till dawn, tangled on a sagging mattress inside, bodies a bulwark against the storm. But betrayal's shadow lingered, Scott's trust eroding, Justin's walls rebuilding. The fracture was a chasm now, and we teetered on the edge. The week blurred into a fever dream of avoidance and ache, Chicago's relentless rhythm mocking our stasis. L trains rattling past like indifferent gods, coffee shops buzzing with lives unfractured, while the house on Elmwood simmered in uneasy truce. Scott buried himself in classes. Text to me curt. Busy. Talk later. His hurt a wall I couldn't scale. Justin vanished into shifts at the bar, crashing at his buddies when home felt like a cage. Our stolen moments reduced to hurried parking lot kisses. His truck's bench seat a poor substitute for the intimacy we glimpsed. I floated between them, sketchbook filling with jagged lines, portraits of hazel eyes shadowed by doubt, fists clenched in impotent rage, guilt my constant companion, whispering that love shouldn't demand such sacrifice. Friday brought the storm's echo, thunder grumbling distant, air electric with impending break. Scott cornered me after a lecture, coffee in hand from the campus quad, his face gaunt under the autumn oaks shedding copper leaves. We need to talk. Really talk. My stomach dropped. Yeah. Over beers. He nodded. Terse. The dive. 8. The rusty anchor again. Fate's cruel loop. I arrived early, claiming our booth. The jukebox crooning Tom Waits like a dirge. Scott slid in opposite at 8 sharp, ordering a whiskey neat, fingers drumming the table, telltale nerves. This about the guy, he started. No preamble. The one making you ghost me? I swallowed, beer bitter. Partially, he leaned in, eyes searching. Alex, you're my best friend. If he's hurting you, he's not. Pause. Heart slamming. It's complicated. Complicated how? Frustration edged his voice. The little brother surfacing, the one who'd idolized me since orientation. I took a breath, the dam cracking. It's Justin. Silence, vast as the lake. His face blanked, then crumpled, confusion, denial, dawning horror. What, my brother? That's a joke, right? No, the word small, final. It started at the party. The porch, the boathouse. It's real, Scott. I love him. He recoiled, chair scraping. Love? You've known for weeks and said nothing? Hurt bloomed, red and raw. While I'm playing referee, thinking you're on my side, I was. Am. But this, I gestured helplessly. It blindsided me too. Blindsided, he laughed. Sharp. Justin's a hurricane, Alex. Destroys everything, his future, our family. And now you're supposed to be the steady one. The words lashed, but truth underlay them. He's more than that. Broken, yeah, but trying. Hiding who he is to keep the peace. Scott stood, chair toppling. Peace? He punched a table, ghosted mom, and you covering for him. Lying to my face, betrayal's full bloom, tears glinting unshed. We're done. You chose him, he stormed out, bell jangling like a death knell. I sat frozen, the bar's hum fading to white noise, until my phone buzzed. Justin, bar's dead. Come over? I drove to Wicker Park on autopilot, the city lights streaking like tears. His buddy's place was dark, fire escape beckoning. He met me there, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of desperation. Hands urgent. Missed you, he murmured, leading me inside to the mattress haven. We made love slow, reverent, bodies a dialogue of apologies unspoken. His bandaged hand gentle on my skin, my lips tracing scars both seen and hidden. After, in the quiet, I confessed, told Scott. About us. He stilled, breath-catching. How'd he take it? Bad. I traced his collarbone, voice thick. Said we're done. Justin swore, sitting up, shadows carving hollows in his face. Fuck. Knew it'd blow up. He raked fingers through his hair, pacing the tiny room. Should have ended it before it got this far. No. I grabbed his wrist, pulling him back. We fight for this. Together. His eyes searched mine, fear warring with fire. How? Scott's my blood. You're his. Then we bridge it. Resolve hardened. Humanistic core surfacing. The belief in redemption. In love's messy grace. Family meeting. All of us. No running. He nodded. Reluctant dawn breaking. Okay. For you. The reckoning came Sunday. Rain sheeting the windows like judgment's veil. I texted Scott porch. Now. We talk or we break forever. He arrived first. Soaked and sullen. Collapsing into the glider with a thermos of coffee. This better be good. It will be. Minutes later, Justin's truck growled up, headlights cutting the downpour. He emerged, jacket hood up, and joined us trio on the swing, rain a curtain sealing us in. Scott spoke first, voice raw. You lied. Both of you. In my house. Justin met his gaze. Steady. Yeah. We did. Scared shitless of this, of losing you. Losing me? Scott's laugh bitter. You already did. When you started screwing my best friend behind my back. Not behind, I interjected. Soft. We hid to protect. Bad call. Silence stretched. Thunder punctuating. Justin shifted. Voice low. Scott. I'm gay. Have been forever. Hiding it fucked me up, jobs. Fights. All of it. Alex. He sees me. Not the screw-up. Scott's face twisted shock. Grief. Why didn't you tell me? I'm your brother. 'Cause you fix everything? Justin admitted. Vulnerable. And this? Can't be fixed. It's me. Tears tracked Scott's cheeks, mixing with rain. I didn't know. Thought you were just lost. To me. And you how long? Weeks. But it's deeper now. He exhaled. Shattered. Feels like betrayal. Like I wasn't enough for either of you. You are. We chorused. Justin's hand on his knee. Mine squeezing his shoulder. Always. The floodgates opened then. Words pouring. Justin's closet years. The pressure of expectations. Scott's fear of failing as the good son. My guilt. The lies that eroded trust. Rain hammered. Catharsis building. Until Scott wiped his face. Voice small. I hate this. But I love you idiots. Can't lose my family. Relief crashed. Hugs awkward in the wet, brothers first. Arms fierce. Then me. Pulled in. The three of us a knot against the storm. No tidy bows. Wounds too fresh. But a start. Therapy cards exchanged. Promises to communicate. No more shadows. Weeks mended slowly. Awkward dinners where Scott grilled Justin about safe shit. Group hikes along the lake trails. My sketches now capturing tentative smiles. Justin found steadier work. Bartending at a queer-friendly spot in Boys Town. Scott aced his MCAT. Toasting with us at Manny's. I sold a mural series downtown. The check buying Justin a proper guitar. One night, months later, under a clearer sky, Justin and I stood on that same porch, his arm around my waist, Scott inside prepping popcorn for a movie night. "We made it," Justin murmured, kissing my temple. "Barely." I leaned into him, the city humming alive. "Worth it," his grin, gold-flecked eyes warm. Every shattered piece, and in that humanistic grace, the forgiveness forged in rain and reckoning, we turned the night right side up. Not perfect, but whole.